It's Miller time in Austin, Texas, and sadly, it's a non-con schedule that looks much worse because of a weak Maui Field.
You are Locked On College Basketball, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey there, what's up? Happy Friday. Welcome into the Locked On College Basketball Podcast, the only daily national college hoop show out there. I'm your host, Isaac Schade. You're joining me at the place to get your college basketball content every single day. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Hey, thanks for making us your first listen or watch to kick off your Friday and get the weekend going the right way. Reminder, you can catch every episode ad-free on Amazon Music. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Hey, special shout out to all you everydayers here with us and all the great members of the Locked On College Basketball Discord, having some great conversations in there, actually literally just before I started recording. We'd love to see you. That link is in the show notes. Coming up on the show today, another couple non-conference schedules that I want to talk about. We've been talking about multiple of them this week. We talked about BYU, leave Tulane, and I did that on Wednesday. Yesterday, we talked about St. John's. And today, we're talking about a pair of schools with brand new head coaches, not one of which is a longtime coach, is new at their school. That's Texas, and that's Miami. And Andy's not here with me today. He's on a much-deserved vacation, but we're still doing Friday Facts. And boy, I'm going to quiz myself. Yes, I am nervous about it already. How are you going to do that, Isaac? I'll explain it to you coming up, but I'd love for you to play along with me so I'm not the only one that looks dumb for getting all the answers wrong. Before we get going, though, on Texas's non-con schedule, a bit of somber, serious news. You might have heard this Thursday evening, but Kansas announced that Bill Self had to go to the hospital with some heart issues. Here's the quote from KU. Quote, Kansas men's basketball coach Bill Self felt unwell and experienced some concerning symptoms Thursday. He was transported to Lawrence Memorial Hospital where he had 2 stents inserted. The procedure went very well and he is expected to make a full recovery. Coach is in good spirits and expects to be released from the hospital soon, end quote. Obviously, you'll remember 2 postseasons ago, Coach Self missed both the Big 12 tournament and NCAA tournament with some heart issues. And so this is not new for Coach. And so if you are a person that prays, I'd encourage you to lift up prayers for Coach Self and his family and the Kansas program. And even if not, man, just send some good thoughts his way, right? And so hopefully Coach will be back. But I mean, goodness, this has been ongoing. You don't want to mess with it. And so I don't want to speculate on anything yet. If there's news over the weekend, Andy and I will cover that on Friday, but I at least wanted to mention it today. Okay, here we go. For those of you watching on YouTube, I'm going to go ahead and pull up Texas's non-con schedule so you can see it as I talk about it. But let me run it through real quick and then offer some observations on it. This is one of my favorite parts of the offseason. I don't know why I get so giddy about it, but I love a good non-con breakdown. Let's hit it. Kicking off the season Tuesday, November 4th against Duke. Then that Saturday, November 8th, hosting Lafayette. I'm taking his horse by the rein. Anyway, that's a little Hamilton for you. Wednesday, November 12th against Fairleigh Dickinson. Purdue says, watch out. Saturday, and I'm sorry to all the Purdue people for making you catch strays. You're not here for that. You didn't deserve that. Saturday, November 15th, hosting Kansas City. Tuesday, November 18th, Ryder. Monday through Wednesday, November 24th through 26th, Longhorns out in Maui. The bracket's not out yet, but we do have the 8 teams. Texas, along with Arizona State, Boise State, Chaminade, NC State, Seton Hall, USC, and Wazoo. Back from Maui to the ACC-SEC Championship, where Texas will host Virginia on December 3rd. Monday, December 8th against Southern. Friday, here's a big daddy, December 12th at Yukon. It's the return game there. And then 2 games to wrap up NonCon. December 16th, hosting Lemoyne, and December 22nd, that's a Monday, hosting Maryland Eastern Shore. So there you go. There's the whole schedule for you for the Texas Longhorns. First off, if you're not looking at this on YouTube, hop on YouTube right now and look at me as I'm talking about, or don't look at me. I mean, look at the schedule. There are 3 Longhorns sitting there. I'm looking at Kendall Weaver's face, but there's a basketball goal, and it's like a chain link net, like from a park. It's not a double rim, though. feel like social media team missed it there. It should be a double rim, but we got the chain net, and I'm here for it. Anyway, 13 games in this non-con schedule. Big 12 bumped back down to 18 conference games. That allows 13 games. We don't have, and I've tried to find it, I haven't seen anything yet on what exhibition games Texas is going to play, so we wait to hear that. As for the makeup of the schedule, it's 7 bye games, 3 games definitely against high majors, and then the 3 games in Maui. Because we don't have the bracket yet, we don't know what of those games will be high majors and what will be mid majors. Of course, the vast majority of those schools are high majors. We'll talk more about Maui, though, in a second, so I don't want to get into that yet. I love it, man. Right out of the gate, kicking off the season with the newly minted Dick Vitale. That's probably Freudian in some way. Dick Vitale Invitational. This will be Texas and Duke in the Spectrum Center in Charlotte. I think this is so well deserved to give Dickie V this invitational because, man, just what a dude for representing college basketball. What a absolute champion he's been for our sport, right? Like, that's something I think any of us who are in college basketball media would aspire to. Like, I just want to be a mouthpiece for college basketball. And a lot of that is because of Dickie V and what an advocate he always has been for this sport. And what I love, though, about this game, particularly being on a Tuesday of opening week, is we're finally starting to get these good games on Monday, November 3rd, opening day. And we've got some other great games. We talked about them on yesterday's show. In fact, that weekend, Friday the 7th and then Saturday the 8th. But a lot of times that Tuesday through Thursday in between, we don't get a ton. So I love that night 2, we get Texas and Duke going at it, man. And that is going to be great. I'm so happy for that. And then the other massive game for Texas is the game at Yukon. And I love when we get marquee games on Friday nights. I like, and this one is on a Friday, in December. It's December 12th. And so often in December, we get loaded Saturdays, especially probably that next day. I can't even remember who else playing on the 13th. But there's so many good games on those Saturdays that they overlap. You can't string them all out. I would love to see college basketball do better about getting some high marquee games like that in standalone moments and own Friday nights, man. I don't know how many times I've talked about college basketball owning Friday night, and this is doing that. Yukon, Texas on a Friday night in December, man, that is rad, and I'm here for it. This is the second game of a of a home and home. I mean, it's obviously head to head because they're only playing each other. Second game of a home and home. Yukon won at Austin last year on December 8th, 76-65. There you go. The other game, you got those 2 high profile games. The game I'm sneakily interested in is the game right after Maui, the ACC SEC matchup. And we've got Texas and Virginia, both obviously with new coaches, Sean Miller at Texas and with Coach Odom coming to Virginia over from VCU. And both teams, I'm not sure what to make of them, but there's some intrigue with both teams, and it should be a lot of fun. So that's low-key one of the ACC SEC games I'm most excited about. Quickly on Maui. This is where it stinks for Texas, right? They've got these 7 bye games. It is what it is. You're going to do that, especially now that we're back to 13 games for Big 12 or for gosh, you know what? I said Big 12 is at 18 schools. That, speaking of Freudian things, hello, SEC. Texas is an SEC school. All the same, it's still 18 SEC games. Texas has 13 non-con. That's funny. I hope somebody caught that when I said it earlier because I'm just catching it now. I'm glad I caught it though and didn't miss it. But Texas gets Duke, they get UConn, and that Virginia game. And those are all great games. But this Maui Field is a massive letdown for Texas, and that's a bummer, and so much of that is due to Players Era Festival. But particularly because Maui is coming off back-to-back loaded years. Let me remind you of the past 2 seasons. 2023, at the time, the rankings at the time of Maui, 2023 was number 1 Kansas, number 2 Purdue, number 4 Marquette, number 7 Tennessee, number 11 Gonzaga, and then UCLA, Syracuse, and it was the Chaminade year. Chaminade plays every other year now instead of every year. So you had 5 of the top 11 teams, UCLA, Syracuse, and Chaminade. That's insane. Last year, number 2, Yukon, number 4, Auburn, number 5, Iowa State, number 12, Carolina, Michigan State, Memphis, Dayton, and Colorado. So you had 4 of the top 12. I know UConn went 0-3, but whatever, fine. And then Michigan State, Memphis, and Dayton. Colorado was way down last year, but still, I mean, crazy. And then this year, Texas, along with Arizona State, Boise State, Chaminade, it's a Chaminade year, NC State, Seton Hall, Texas, USC, and Wazoo. And there are solid programs in there. And we don't yet have the AP top 25 preseason, and we don't know where or if any of these teams will be ranked at the time of Maui. But let's just take 3 prominent offseason rankers right now. Gary Parrish at CBS. Literally, Texas is the only team in this field that he has ranked, and he has them 23rd. Jeff Borzello, ESPN. NC State is the only team in this field that he has ranked, and he has them 24th. John Rothstein, CBS, Texas, literally the only team in this field that he has ranked, and he has them 24th. That's nothing remotely close to what Maui had been the last several years, when it was, what did I say, for like 5 top 12s 2 years ago and 4 top 12s this past year. I mean, this doesn't hold a candle to that. And so that's, again, solid teams. Boise State has been one of the singularly best mid-majors, and you barely even consider them a mid-major. Washington State, technically a mid-major for one more year because they're in the West Coast. But USC just took a big hit because they lost Elijah Arenas, at least. I mean, he won't be playing by this point. Seton Hall just got a big pickup this week. Shouts to our guy, Coach Corey Lowry, who we had on a couple weeks ago. NC State, we're hopeful they're going to, but it just doesn't have the top end, like, wow, of the past couple of years. And so that's a big bummer for Texas as they're looking at this non-con slate. So all that said, in these 13 games, I'm going to give, record-wise, I'm going to give Texas a loss to Duke. That's in Charlotte at Spectrum where the Hornets play. I'm going to give them a loss at UConn. That's just going to be tough, and UConn should be much improved this year. And then I'm going to say Texas goes 2-1 in Maui. Again, we don't know the bracket yet, but I don't think they win that event. I mean, they could, but it's just hard to know with all of those teams. It could be NC State, right? Like, I'm curious to see. But give me a 10-3 non-con record for the Longhorns. They could get clipped in one of those bye games, go 9-4, but I think that's where they'll head into SEC play, and that'll be good. Well, Miami also getting ready for a season with the new coach, one in which they could win more games in non-con play than they did in the entirety of last season. I'll explain in just a second. Right after I tell you about FanDuel, summer sports are in full swing. And whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. You're already following the action anyway, so why not make all of it more thrilling? Just get in on it. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You're hanging out at the beach or wherever. Man, check out FanDuel. It's great. You can use FanDuel to track your favorite matchups, and I love that the app keeps it fresh with new daily promotions and fun ways to bet. It's easy to use, it's fast to pay out, and makes even regular season games feel like appointment viewing. So whether you're placing a same-game parlay or watching a bet right on into the ninth inning, FanDuel makes it always feel like you're part of the action. How about some Wooden Award odds? Let me give you the top 5. Purdue's Braden Smith at plus 400, Darren Peterson plus 850, he's at Kansas, Duke's Cam Boozer at plus 1100, and then Texas Tech's JT Toppin and BYU's AJ Debانsa tied at plus 1200. Go check out those Wooden Word odds. Great stuff there. Are you new to FanDuel? Great. New customers like you can bet your first $5 bet, and if it wins, you're going to get $150 back in bonus bets. Go check it out. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. All right, let's switch from some horns. Shouts to my wife. She's a big Longhorns fan. To some Canes. Miami's non-con schedule. I got it pulled up on the screen for those of you watching on YouTube. If you're looking at it, you see a lot of the word Florida right there, and that's the big takeaway right out of the gate. Out of Miami's 13 non-con games, they are leaving the state of Florida precisely once. One time. And even then, they're only going to Oxford, Mississippi. And that's just like one state over. Like the panhandle of Florida might even touch Mississippi. Let's pull up maps here and check it out in real time. I guess I could just zoom out. You're not seeing this, but you can check it out with me if you want. Florida, no, the Panhandle doesn't go all the way to Mississippi, almost, but it touches Alabama. So literally, they leave. I'm not even joking. Miami leaves the state of Florida precisely one time in non-con play. They first 3 games host Jacksonville, host Bethune-Cookman, host Stetson. That's November 3rd, 6th, and 10th. Then they play Florida up in Jacksonville. That's Florida. And then 2 games back in Coral Gables, Elon and Delaware, not Delaware, Delaware State. And then their MTE is the ESPN Events Invitational. As you know, that's at the Disney Wide World of Sports right there in smack dab center of Florida, Orlando. And then they finally leave the state. They're going to Ole Miss for the ACC SEC Challenge. That'll be December 2nd. And then they return home for 4 more bye games. That's December 6th, 13th, 16th, and 21st, hosting Southern Miss, ULM, FIU, and North Florida. I mean, that's wild. I don't know how often that happens that you play all of November and December, and literally once you leave the state. That's crazy. I mean, but here's the thing. I think it's also needed. Because as a reminder, Miami last year went 7-24. It's not quite Louisville bad from, man, I'm just throwing some strays today. I'm sorry, Louisville. So glad you're much better now. Way to go under Pat Kelsey. But literally last year, 7-24. The year before that, 15-17. And that's coming on the heels of 2 seasons prior to that. They had gone to an Elite 8 and a Final 4 with 26 and 29 wins respectively. And then they did that the past 2 years. I know there was a lot of injury issues and that was a massive part of it, but still. And if you've been around our show for a while, you know I'm usually pretty hard on teams for weak non-con schedules. But sometimes, man, it's like we need to get you guys some wins. And so Miami, you need to rebound a little bit. We need a slingshot back, and that's it. So I'm happy for that. But as you look at Miami's schedule, 13 games. We don't yet know the exhibition games. Did some looking around, couldn't find anything. But of these 13 games, literally 9 of the 13 are bye games, and then just 4 games against high majors. They play Florida, they play Ole Miss, and then the ESPN Events Invitational, along with Miami, is BYU, Dayton, and Georgetown. And so I know Dayton isn't technically a high major. They're A10, but you know, they're right in that running for high major capable teams like Gonzaga, for example. Not technically a high major, but come on, they are. So while you look at this, it's like those 9 bye games are going to be helpful for hopefully getting a whole bunch of wins. But Miami really needs some of these higher games, Florida, and hopefully for them, they get BYU in Orlando. It's not a situation where if you're a Miami fan, you're saying, oh man, I hope we dodge BYU and only play Dayton and Georgetown. No, you want the smoke from BYU so you can test yourself. And that would be good because if you get to play both Florida and BYU, that's probably 2 preseason top 10 teams. And even if you take losses in those games, which they probably would, you've got a bunch of confidence building bye game wins. And so there's a lot of winnable games, but also a couple, let's test ourselves games in there. So I'm hopeful for Miami that they're able to actually get BYU. That's what I'm looking at. And keep in mind, as you look at this Miami team that Jay Lucas has in his first year, it's not just a bunch of also-rans. They've got some good basketball players. Just a reminder of some of the transfers in. Trey Donaldson from Michigan, Malik Renew from Indiana, Ernest Uday from TCU had started Kansas, True Washington coming over from New Mexico. I know, Donovan Dent gets all the love. He's off to UCLA now, but man, True Washington's a good basketball player. Jordan Key from Georgia, Marcus Allen coming over from Missouri. Some really strong players, and that's not even to mention, remember, that Jay Lucas was able to convince Shelton Henderson to come with him instead of playing at Duke. And another player that's coming to Miami as a freshman is Dante Allen. You might not know that name, and he's not as high star as Shelton Henderson. But man, I love Dante Allen's game. He's a great guard. If you watched any EYBL stuff last summer, maybe you watched the Peach Jam Championship game, for example, Night Riders with the Boozer twins, with Caleb Wilson, who are at Duke and Carolina respectively now, beat AJ DeBanza, and I think Tyron Stokes was on that team now, one of the top player in the 26 class. But Dante Allen was a guard on that Night Riders team with the Boozers and Caleb Wilson. And man, I was super impressed by him in that game. And then they recently, Miami added 4-star Trayvon Madden. And so there's some dudes at Miami, and hopefully they can get this thing turned around pretty quick. So predictions on the Miami schedule. Just because it's a brand new team, brand new coach, young coach in Jay Lucas, I think he's going to be great, but he's young. And when you've got that many bye games with an unproven team, I think they got to get tripped up at least once. So give me 8-1 in those bye games. And then I'll say in the other 4 that they go 1-3, because I think it's a loss to Florida. I think they're going to lose at Ole Miss to Chris Beard's Rebels team. And let's say they go 1-1 in Orlando. So that'd be 1-3. All told, give me a 9-4 non-con record for Miami. But that's great. Last year they won 7 games the entire season. They could best that in non-con play. They could best that by December. That's crazy to think about. But last year, I mean, the team just imploded. Coach Larinaga stopped midseason. And so I'm really hopeful for Miami to rebound and help get that ACC back up, right? Like that's been part of the issue with the ACC the past couple of years is Louisville was so bad. Thankfully, they're on the way back up. And hopefully Miami can do the same. We'll keep tabs on it, and that'll be great. Good luck to the Canes in the first season. All right, coming up, Friday Facts solo style, and we're talking recent Final Fours. How many can you name? More importantly, how many can I name so that I don't look dumb in front of all of you here on the show? We'll wrap the week with Friday Facts here in just a second. This is one of my favorite things we've been doing on the show this summer. We've been calling it Friday Facts. Usually, either I come up with a trivia for Andy and he has to process through it and it's a good kind of reminiscence or something like that, or he comes up with one for me and vice versa. Today, as I said earlier in the show, Andy is on a much-deserved vacation. Buddy, we miss you if you're listening to or watching this. So it's just me holding it down today solo. But I thought, you know what? We can still do this. And here's what we're going to do. I'm going to come up with a question for myself, but I'm not going to research it, and I'm going to commit to not thinking about it until right now. So I came up with a question like yesterday or the day before. Again, I haven't thought about it. And anytime it's come into my brain, I've said, no, get that out of here. And we're going to do it together. So I want you to play along with me, see how well you can do. Here it is. We're talking Final Fours. Since COVID season, there have been 5 Final Fours, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. My question for myself and you is how many of those 20 teams, 5 years times 4 teams, can we name? What I did, I've opened the Wikipedia page that's got like the list of all the Final Four participants every year. I haven't looked at it, but I've scrolled to where it's like just about to get to the 21 season. And that way, after I've gone through them and guessed them, we can go back and verify that I got them right and find out the ones I missed, which I'm guaranteed to miss. Now, here's how you can play along. Again, 20 answers. If you can get 18 or more of those right, I'm going to give you a shout out on Monday's show. So if you play along and you get 18 or more right, hop in the Locked On College Basketball Discord. Let me know in there. DM me, Instagram, whatever it is. Let me know, and you're going to get a shout on Monday's show. All right, let's start at 2021 and see if we can work our way up to this most recent season. Okay, I got to do it by like trying to process through it. So 2021 is the bubble year. Everybody's in Indianapolis. Obviously, Baylor won that national championship by boat racing Gonzaga. Now I got to think back to Saturday. Gonzaga, beat UCLA on the half-court buzzer beater. But who did Baylor beat? That's not coming to my brain. Dadgummit. Okay, 2022. This is good news. I was at this Final Four. It's in New Orleans. Kansas beat UNC in the championship game. Kansas beat Villanova. Remember, Justin Moore was hurt. And Carolina beat Duke. That was that game, ending Coach K's career. 2023. this is all the surprise teams we had. The championship was UConn's first, and they beat San Diego State. San Diego State had beaten FAU. Who did UConn beat in the Final Four on Saturday? Was that Miami? Miami had beaten Texas, should have beaten Miami in the Elite Eight, but they lost. That was Miami. That's funny. We just talked about that. Duh. Of course, that's Miami. Okay, good. Way to go, Isaac. 2024, UConn beat Purdue in the national championship game. Who did they each play in the Final Four? Bama. Bama's first Final Four. That was UConn. Who did Purdue beat? Not Tennessee, man. Tennessee, no, right? No. Purdue, Tennessee was the Elite Eight. Shoot, who did Purdue beat in the Final Four? That's not coming to me. All right, and then this year, good. I should be able to remember this. Florida beat Houston in the national championship. Houston beat Duke, of course. Yes. And, Florida beat Auburn. Yeah. Okay. I think I've got 18 of the 20. Who did UConn beat in the Final Four in 2024? No, they beat Bama. Who did Purdue beat in the Final Four? Oh, man, that's killing me. And who, back to 2021, who did Baylor beat in the Final Four? Crud. I'm not going to be able to pull it, and we got to get on. You're all screaming at it. But if I get this right, I get 8. If I got all the ones I guessed, if I get them right, that's 18, and I get to give myself a shout out. Okay, here we go. Pulling up Wikipedia. 2020 canceled due to the COVID-19 pandemic. 2021 Baylor, Gonzaga, Houston. Oh man, of course. So I missed Houston, but obviously, as we just said, got the other 3 correct. Way to go, Isaac. You're not that awful. Baylor, Gonzaga, Houston, UCLA. All right, 2022. This was the one I was super confident in. I was there in the building for all 3 games. Kansas, North Carolina, Duke, and Villanova. Got it. Boom. 2023. Pulled Miami at the last minute, which is funny again because we just talked about them at the last second. UConn beat San Diego State in the national championship. Yes. San Diego State beat FAU on a buzzer beater. UConn beat Miami. Great stuff. Okay. Now's the other team that I can't remember. So UConn beat Purdue. UConn had beat Bama, but who did Purdue beat? NC State, of course. I almost even said, man, I feel like it was a team that made a run, but I can't pull who it is. Oh, gosh, how did I forget that? NC State beat Duke in the Elite Eight, and then went on and lost ultimately to Purdue there. Crazy stuff. Okay, and then this year's I feel really confident about as well. Florida, Houston, Duke, and Auburn. Okay, not bad. 18 out of 20. I will definitely take that. Solo Friday Facts. That was fun. It's not as much fun without Andy, but still, it was fun to do. I'd love to know how you fared in this exercise. Man, if we started going back further, then it just empties. It's gone from the brain, right? If we went back even further with Final Fours, man, it'd be a struggle. Maybe we'll do that next time. Maybe I can ask Andy to do the 5 before COVID. That'd be even tougher. So, man, a lot of fun. I hope you all have a great weekend. I know that I'm going to, hopefully, just hang out and be with my family a lot, and I hope you're able to do the same. Again, thoughts and prayers go out to Coach Self and the Kansas family and Coach Self's family. Again, if we get more news on that, we'll talk about it on Monday along with other stuff as well. Andy will be back. We'll be together on Monday's show. Thanks for being with us. Make sure you check out and subscribe Locked On College Basketball on all audio platforms and YouTube as well, wherever you check it out. If you're not part of the Locked On College Basketball Discord, man, that's a great place to hang out. I was priming them that we were going to do Friday Facts today, so some folks might even be playing along. In fact, I think BYU Vapor, if you're here, I remember you saying you're going to do it. Shouts to you. Hopefully you got to sleep in like you were talking about. You guys, as always, apologies to the Lawyer family. Let's go Wild Popes. Cheers to the McBruins. And until Monday, peace.